When going on a long, perilous journey, be it in video games or just a road trip, you'll usually have your friends or teammates along with you. You'll share laughs, moments, tell stories, and probably have a bit of a debate and arguments from time to time. But at the end of the day, you're still friends. Probably. With Jojo and each part, the main Joestar is usually accompanied by at least one other person, which eventually grows into others joining them from having the same goal. Jonathan Joestar first started off by himself, trying to find medicine for his ill father and to stop Dio and his plans. Within a few weeks, he ends up growing as a person, a fighter, and gaining a group of allies who also want to stop Dio. This is usually the case within most of the parts in the whole series. And honestly, out of all of the groups that there have been, I believe that the Stardust Crusaders are the best group within the entire series. No, I don't mean in terms of power scaling, get all that unnecessary math out of your head. I mean in terms of how much of a real group and team they were throughout Part 3. A team and group of characters that at first you think wouldn't really get along, but they managed to pull through. An American real estate tycoon, an Egyptian fortune teller, a hopeless romantic Frenchman, 2 Japanese students, and a dog make up the Stardust Crusaders. More specifically, Joseph Joestar, the man who fought vampires, Nazis, super Aztecs, and the ultimate life form while getting to slay Italian puss, and more. Muhammad Avdol, a friend to Mr. Joestar, who teaches the group the world of stands and is a good mentor and older figure the younger members can rely on. Jean-Pierre Polnareff, a man on a quest for revenge upon those who have twisted his life for the worst, as well as having a bit of younger Joseph in him. That quirky, quick wit, temper, and humorous attitude all make him who he is. Noriaki Kakyoin, the young man who wants to help out as much as possible from feeling rather alone and used from before. I know some people either love him or just straight up don't like Kakyoin from the idea of him just being there and that's it, but I like him. Hierophant Green is one of my favorite stands in the entire series, from design, versatility, power, everything. Plus, he's at least someone Jojo could relate to from time to time and formed a bit of a friendship. And people seem to take that a lot further than what's presented, and that's fine, good on them. But Kakyoin's cool, alright? Anyways, Iggy, the dog.
Iggy, get out of here! He's still alive!
And then Jotaro Kujo, the main Jojo of this group. The insanely tall 17-year-old who's out to punch a neon vampire in the face for cursing his family and violating his great-grandfather's body. I'll talk more about Jotaro specifically in his own video later or by now, whichever, but those are the men who make up the Stardust Crusaders. It always feels good to say. Now with me saying that, I'm not trying to deny how cool and tight the other teams were. The Moria Warriors are dope and everything, but pretty much after Rohan was introduced, the whole trio of Josuke, Koichi, and Okuyasu kind of fell apart, and it became more of a duo act with each just working together when there's a problem. Josuke and Okuyasu dealing with whatever trouble they stumbled upon, Koichi tag teaming with whoever that week, and so on. Same can be said about Stone Ocean. There's a lot of tag team battles in that actually. And some of my favorite characters come from Vento Arreo. The individual members of Passione Gang were great. Individually, of course. I love Giorno, Bruno, Fugo, and anyone else's name who ends with an O, but that's the thing. The characters are awesome by themselves and pretty much act like main characters themselves of their own series. We know a lot about their backstory, technically besides Fugo, but that's a whole nother thing. Though throughout Part 5, besides at the beginning, they don't really act like a real team or group too often that kind of get along, you know? They have their goofy and kick-ass moments being together, sure, but not to the same amount and level of the example and point I'm trying to make, that being the complete journey of the Stardust Crusaders, when there are a handful of moments where we see the characters just sit down and take a break. Most likely winding down from encountering an enemy stand and commenting on what just happened or the idiot they went up against, or just having more comedic moments. Thank you, Polnareff.
He says your underwear is showing.
Yeah, nice! We could be attacked and killed at any time! Stop fooling around and let's go!
Occasions like this are so dumb but very welcoming. Now back to Part 5, just as a comparison, pretty much right after the babyface fight, the gang doesn't really have time to rest and of course do the same thing. Though quite frankly, I should probably stop nitpicking when it comes to this thing because I get it. Vento Arreo was a more intense and battle-driven story. Bruno's gang were up against actual professional assassins, bodyguards, and whatever the fuck Secco is. The Crusaders mostly dealt with whatever weirdo was found on non-existent Craigslist. Anyways, some of the best moments that really make the Crusaders feel really united is when they finally get to Egypt and reflect on all of the battles they've had up to that point. That's legit the halfway mark of the whole arc, and when they finally manage to reach Dio's mansion, reflecting on how and why they're standing all together is just really great to see. They've had their ups and their downs, but managed to pull through, now with each other side by side, ready to confront the man who started all of this. It truly is like a video game, and you've reached the final dungeon or last boss and some of his strongest underlings. Or at least one of them. The other guy got lost in Florida or something. They stand with their stands against the man who's leeched off the Joestar family bloodline for way too long and anyone else involved. And you can't tell me that in the anime, it doesn't have a stronger presence and feeling. That iconic picture of the Crusaders wasn't from the manga. Or, well, let me rephrase that. It is in the manga, yes. Jojo has it from part 5, and that's really the only time we see it. It's not mentioned how or when that photo was taken, because it's not really important of what was happening at that time. But the anime does add the extra scene of them taking the picture when Iggy joins the team. And the same applies to the ending, as in the final scene of the whole part where Jotaro's on the plane reminiscing with the photo in his hand. Again, not in the manga. You see the remaining members leave at the airport, like it should be, and that's it. And I don't even want to speak about the ending theme of Last Train Home. Like, god damn, does that shit hurt more and more as the part goes on to its final episodes. So just adding those types of scenes really make the Stardust Crusaders feel not just like a team or people who just have the same goal by the end, but genuine friends who have had this truly bizarre adventure. Now naturally, I'm not saying that part 3 is flawless because it had a great group of characters. Honestly, not really. Individually, they're not the strongest, but they do serve their purpose. As a group though together, they are perfect. It's like a comedy duo. You really can't have one without the other. It either just works or it doesn't. The Crusaders are awesome. Yes, but there are a few things that upset the part in general and overall, story-wise. And I don't think I need to go into detail about them because if you've read or seen it, you know what they are. Everyone does by the end. It's almost impossible not to. So even with its problems, I definitely say that the best thing about part 3 are the Stardust Crusaders, the best JoJo group. And that is the video on the Stardust Crusaders. It's just something that I've had in my mind for quite some time when I think about, oh yeah, you know, each part has like a group of characters, of course, but which one's my favorite? And I can definitely say that when you see like some of those fan-made pictures of like the Crusaders getting back together, you know, if they were all still alive, I hate my life. It's just so heartwarming because it's the one group where they could definitely have like a reunion or something and it would just be so heartwarming to see and just awesome. But yeah, I love the Stardust Crusaders. They're very fun and everything. It probably explains like, well, no, they're not really the reason why Part 3 is super popular, but Part 3 is just popular because it's Part 3. It's the start of stands. I'm rambling as I usually do. You know, they cool. That's all you need to get out of this video. But yeah, comments below, you know, do with all the links that are provided and everything of the sort. Thank you for watching. That's greatly appreciated, of course. Stay safe out there. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else, you know what to do.